What is up, everyone? I'm back here with another video. I haven't done one of these in a long time. Um, I'm still in the process of trying to figure out what class I want to main for like the last week of BFA, because if you haven't heard, Shadowlands pre-patch is coming out October 13th. So I give this about a week to play when Battle for Azeroth. Um, and then I don't know what I want to main going forward into Shadowlands. Um, but I have been messing around. I have been playing again recently. I have done like two streams um, in the last 2 weeks or so, maybe. And I have been playing since my month, almost 2 months off. And I've been getting back into Mythic Plus on Priest and Warrior, healing and tanking, and sometimes actually Shadow. Um, and I'm actually just pushing myself to do 20 keys. And I've done several 20s, but not all of them are in time. I've done 21s, weren't in time. But I have recently bumped up my IO score about maybe over like 100 points, a little over 100 points in like 3 days, 4 days. Um, yeah, so it's been fun just getting back into Mythic Plus. It's actually pretty hard to find a team. It's pretty hard to find pugs because a lot of people are on the beta. I do have beta access, but I have just decided that I would like to continue on my Radar IO score. I just think it's a third party system, but I just think it is fun to, I don't know, just see myself progress in that manner. So yeah, here's one of the clips or recordings I actually got while I was playing. This is a pug, level 20, Temple of Sethralis. We time it, I don't remember by how much, but it is a +1 chest. And I mean, this is just a fun dungeon to heal in my opinion. ToS has been one of the ones that took me a lot longer to learn to heal than the other ones. There's a lot of AoE output to the team. Um, so just being a discipline priest, I need to know when damage is coming and have my atonements out and powered shields to help absorb and help my team out. Have that stuff pre-casted, like just prepared pretty much before the damage comes to my team. And just doing this over and over again, I feel like I've got a lot better at it. Either weak, fortified, or tyrannical, this dungeon can be problematic. But in my opinion, it's just a very fun healing dungeon. So with that intro out of the way, here we go with a +20 Temple of Sethralis. Unfortunately, I guess I played this without any sound on, so I may be doing a little wrong thing. There we go. So I might be doing some skipping ahead here. We'll see. Try to quickly go over my gear, but I forgot to. There are my talents real quick. I do my gear at the end of the video. So as always, give my tank powered shield right before they go in to pull. It doesn't really matter what tank it is. It's just a good idea to always have atonement on your tank as much as possible. The tank is doing okay. He doesn't need my atonement, so I didn't have to waste a global there. It is a good idea to always keep it up because you don't really know if the tank is going to have a lapse in judgment where he needs to use a personal, or for this one specifically, he doesn't have demon spikes up maybe. Yeah, this is my key. So a good rule of thumb if you're new to discipline and you're here to learn, it is always a good idea to have atonement ready on the tank as much as possible. Right now, I should be going for him, but discipline's really fun because it feels like a DPS class almost too, a ranged DPS class. Got to do damage to heal, and it's part of the reason why I enjoy it so much. But there I was playing more selfishly with my damage than I was with the healing. And you can see I'm kind of playing catch up right now. Which is one, depending on the affix, it also kind of depends. It also helps like my playstyle. If I'm playing something like Grievous where I need to be ahead of Grievous as much as possible, I wouldn't have played so aggressively in my offensive way. I would have been more aggressive in my defensive way and made sure my team is topped off, and worried more about that than I would with the damage output. So eventually we get the boss down. There we go. We hop out. This is a general good spot to have your the obelisk drop. This is pretty much like all I've seen in Season 4 is the obelisk drop right here. Tempest Astralis turned into a pretty easy key after Season 4. Like the timer went from pretty tight because some people just cannot get past the maze. The 3 mazes, I guess. Yeah, there are 3. Yeah, the 3 mazes. Some people just cannot get past them sometimes. And the live key, or in Season 3, 2, and 1, and Season 4 introduced freaking the obelisk. And it's crazy how dungeon can change so drastically just by having these skips put into the game. So here's a boss where you really want to pay attention to this here. Pause it. You really want to pay attention to this bar here. So Skull is an active target without the lightning shield on it. So this is the one you want to be damaging. You'll see the druid kills himself actually by having a dot on the lightning shield later on in the fight. This lightning shield is serious damage the higher you go up. And I actually think on fortified weeks, the off boss does more damage with lightning shield. On Tyrannical, I don't think that's the case. I think Tyrannical, the boss that is active, does more damage with his abilities, but in fortified, I think it's flip-flopped. So yeah, as Discipline Priest, you want to make sure you have this bar in like the back of your mind, or you want to be able to have it somewhere on the screen that you can look at real quick. Like, okay, he's about to hit 100, and when he hits 100, I need to do something because there's going to be a lot of AoE damage coming out. And you'll see what I do with Rapture. This is what I have been doing for a very long time, is rapturing and then just spamming shields out. And there I go. Started rapture. Because I saw him hit 100, make sure everyone has a good powered shield. Ideally, I would have liked to have people topped off before that phase, because that's sometimes it just hits so hard. But with corruption being a thing and people just playing poorly, I can't. That's something Discipline Priest can't really control. But you'll see here, look at my HPS now, hit like about 84k. Before there, I'm about 40. And just keep an eye over here. The Demon Hunt is actually out healing me for a little bit. But as soon as I get my Raptures out and I get my Atonements out, I'm at 40, 50. Look at the jumps. Look at the jump in my HPS. And that is mostly powered shield. The Raptures just being so strong for the powered shield, absorbing all that damage. So that's the pro of Discipline Priest. Some classes have to play reactively, where they might have to just wait for the damage and then heal it off. Discipline, this is another reason why I like playing, is because you have to be pretty knowledgeable of the encounters you're doing to be successful at it. And there you see some people getting cleaved with lightning shield in the chat box there. Someone got hit by the arc dash, That's pretty much the only big AoE output, is when Aspix is doing it again. Going to hit 100, and he's going to cast Static Shock. That's a big AoE. That's like your cooldown. I couldn't save everyone with that one. People were just getting hit by Arc Dash. People were getting hit by Lightning Shield. But people just kept getting hit by their own thing. So I just knew I had to save myself. So I threw myself a bubble, and thankfully the Hunter stepped in it. I yanked him for no reason pretty much, but he did see it and backed up into it. And with a good coordinated group, I could have told everyone, hey, stand on the boss, I'm dropping a barrier. Then I could have saved probably everyone there. If not everyone, at least one of the players. You see in the chat box again, damn corruption got me. It's just Season 4 things happening here. And eventually we get the boss down, skip ahead. Pull this one bridge mob, go into the obelisk. Here's actually a pretty good idea to spam dots out there, because the more dots, the more healing we're gonna do. So on this specific obelisk, when I'm playing discipline, I would like to get as many dots out as possible. It is kind of padding the meters, but having 5 dots out is gonna have my heals tick a lot faster. It's gonna have my heals come in stronger through atonement. So it's actually a good idea to pad your damage, so to speak, by placing your dots out like that. And it's also gonna help out your healing. So I didn't follow the tank out because obviously I need mana, and it's just a 1 mob pull. It's really easy, low damage output. Things to be aware of this week is bolstering, and this specific video is bolstering, obviously. If a tank does pull like that, staggered, you're going to want to not DPS the one that was initially pulled. You want to DPS the highest health target to help your team out the best you can. So if you are playing a Schism, you want a Schism to be on the highest health target and do a single target rotation into that target, excuse me, to help people, or to help bolstering not get out of control. So this room here can be kind of an issue with bolstering, just because you have like 4 or 5 patrols, and if the tank isn't aware of the patrols coming in, then you have a target that's about 50% HP, then you have another target coming in at 100% HP, and just as trying to be a good team player, no matter what role you're in, you should try and help your tank out, like realize there's something coming, and if it does come, the mob does come and you can't do anything about it, focus your DPS on the brand new target to the team or to the pull. This is nice, big pull here. I like this. Even though we can't do that much AoE damage as Discipline Priest, we do spread our dots out. And that's pretty much just where our damage comes from, is just spreading our dots out. I could Holy Nova here, and Holy Nova is actually pretty good in AoE situations like this. But in Shadowlands, we do get Mind Seer. So that's going to be new fun button to press as Discipline. And Mind Seer does heal through Atonement, I believe. I'm like 90% sure Mind Seer helps heal. So we get these mobs down, yada yada yada. Start on the boss here. So the only damage to be worried about here on this boss as far as group damage goes is not this one, even though some players who aren't aware of the mechanic will get hit by it. And that's not, I mean, you could just hit them up with a powered shield or a Shadow Man afterwards. That's no big deal. The big one, which isn't even a lot, but it will help your healing meters like a lot, like a lot better than they are currently if you're not doing this, is the blinding light that he does in the second phase and third phase. Blinding light is an DPS AoE damage to the team. So I'd like to have a Rapture ready. I don't think I have it here because I assume people are going to get hit by the Noxus Venom. Noxus, yeah, I think that's what it's called. But I was assuming people were going to get hit by that, so I don't have Rapture for this phase. But I do have Powered Radiance, and you'll see I have everything ready. See, I have everyone Atonement out, and you should see here 32, 35k HPS right now. Start hitting everyone with the shield, right? 31, 32, 30, 34k, 5k. See how like that 5k jump, and then when I start doing my damage rotation, jumps up by another 5k. And you'll see like no one really they took the initial damage, my DPS rotation started, and that healing, it was right back. So that's the only one to be concerned with on this pull. Let's see, skip ahead. The third phase, he either does, I don't know how it's decided. I think he just maybe takes turn between Blinding Sand and the Noxious Venom. But yeah, again, that's just your only AoE situation. That's the only thing you should be worried about, that unavoidable damage. So outside of those, you really only need to have your Atonement on the tank. Now these next pulls coming up are pretty fun to me because there's a lot, like those AoE damage situations I really enjoy. So I barely got my damage out or my Atonement out for that release charge. Ideally, I could line them up to have 2 release charges coming out at the same time. Well, that would be the ideal situation, but it can't really happen like that. So there's just a lot of big AoE damage coming in. So you just keep your Atonement on everyone. Powered Radiance on cooldown if you need it. Well, not on cooldown, but you want Powered Radiance your Atonement pretty much on cooldown. That's a better way to put it. And if you have to do it via Rapture, Powered Shield, or Radiance, then so be it. But you want your Atonement pretty much on cooldown because there's this big AoE damage coming out here, and then in the next, pretty much from this pull until you kill Galvast. It's big AoE damage, which is my favorite part of the dungeon here. This is a dumb idea by putting the fish there. That's not a very efficient way to do it. I wasted little seconds, but wasting seconds on a key is just not a good idea if you're trying to time. So this pull is what I prefer. Well, he did miss one here. I would have preferred all 4, honestly, because I enjoy the challenge, and it's just more efficient to not do a 1 mob pull. So again, this big AoE healing here, just very fun for me. I enjoy it a lot. And this is something like Powered Berry is kind of hard to get real good use out of. I kind of consider it my a personal cooldown because I know I can get 100% use out of it for myself. But in situations like this where everyone's kind of stacked, it's also good to use. And I know it has a 3-minute cooldown on it, and I'm going to have it up by the boss time. This here is not my ideal. I said earlier he did a 1 mob pull. I forgot he did a 3 mob pull here. And this is actually a lot of AoE damage. But when I saw the pull happen, I'm like, this is going to be fun. Like, I can't wait for this pull to happen because, look at my healing meters just going off the charts right now. I just keep spiking every time I'm playing it properly, and it does so much fun to me. My damage is up. I have my cooldowns with my haste buff from Rachel and my Shadow Fiend. This is just a very fun pull for me. I just love these types of pulls. Love healing through this, and I like just playing discipline through this. Because especially a lot of people, since season 4 kind of came out and all the haste buff, or not haste buffs, the stat buffs that we can do, the stat amps, people have like moved Discipline Priest up on their pug healer list. But for the most part of the majority of the BFA, besides like season 1, season 2, 3, and parts of season 4, a lot of people just kind of wrote off Discipline and they're just not the Mythic Plus healer because they just don't have like the toolkit for it. It's more so the player versus the class or the spec, in my opinion. And again, this is a fun heal fight too. 4-pack, all AoE damage. Keep dots out, keep automaton on a cooldown. It's very fun for me, and Galvest, pretty much the same exact thing. I know he went stealth form, but I didn't know he was going to go stealth form. So I just yanked him over because I needed my mana. Pre-pot for damage. Doesn't do anything for atonement healing, but I like this doing more damage. Because I see Disc Priest as almost like a ranged DPS who heals. Because I mean, we do have to do damage to heal, and it's just fun trying to maximize that. Even though some damage doesn't transfer to atonement healing, it is just kind of fun having that feeling. My Raptor's coming back soon. I have my barrier. So this would be a good time to actually use my powered barrier because everyone is in melee range. I can get 100% use out of it by covering all 5 players. And I don't think I used it this fight at all, actually. Oh wow, I didn't even use my offensive cooldowns during this fight either. I thought I did. That was the general idea, was to use my offensive cooldowns like 2 packs ago, 2 or 3 pulls ago, so I could have for this boss and just trying to get the most use out of my cooldowns in a dungeon. And it looks like I just wanted to challenge myself and not use it. So here, this is, yep, Master Spell, right? Because Fear goes on everyone, get Master Spell ready. Another good one, spread all your dots to everyone, get the most out of your healing, yada yada yada, kite to the normal spot. Some tanks go here, some tanks go here, or some tanks go over here to the orb. I prefer the tanks going to the orbs, honestly, and only the tank leaves, and they run and clear the path out for the orb runners to the skull here. This tank did not do that. I don't think he really cleared a good path out at all. And it was kind of confusing. And that's one of my biggest like pet peeves is some PvE or some DPS players see like all these mobs grouped together and like, all right, here we go. Big AoE padding and just do the eyeballs and we'll save so much time on this in this room. This room could sometimes room can like make your key or break your key, which is unfortunate because like I said, some players just see big AoE numbers coming, so they do that instead. But you can see here, this guy did not clear. He just like grabbed some mobs and stood near the orb instead of grabbing all these mobs. Like the route that the orb runners are going to be going, the tanks should be going that route before the orb runners, grabbing all the little guys and the elites and pulling them away. And this tank did not really do it. So you see this one actually takes us a little bit of time. Thank God the hunter was just out there doing it on his own, but it does take a little bit of time. We finally get it done. Don't know what 3 orbs he's talking about. Did we actually wipe here? Yeah, we actually wiped here, I think. It's kind of sad. I don't think I've ever wiped on this room. Yeah, we pretty much full wiped. Yeah, I've never seen that before. But yeah, that's just like poor execution of that room is like first time. And then at a 20 key, I didn't expect poor execution like that. And then here I thought we we're actually going to lose a key, honestly. I mean, well, this is what I'm talking about. For Season 4 ToS is we're at about 2 or 3 minutes heading towards the last boss. Any other season before this, we'd probably be at like 5 minutes. But with season 4 and the obelisk, like this just saves so much time. And then this tank couldn't get into the zone. You know, So the tank couldn't get from there to there. In season 3, 2, and 1, they would have to run this whole thing and trying to avoid the patrols here, or just grab the patrols and run down to the last boss area, you know. So it went from like allowing no mistakes to allowing several mistakes like that to make this dungeon go from one of the harder ones at the time to like one of the top ones at the time, in my opinion. So we finally get it going. Do the usual, go all the way down here, then kill. We do 2 at a time here because these guys do pretty good damage with their lava burst, or flame shock, I guess. And they bolster each other, so we take it easy, just 2 at a time. Do the other 2 just do the other 2 now. Alright, the dead we start. I always make sure I have top 100% mana here because this is a very healing intensive fight. A good idea is you can play Twist of Fate here, because if you put any atonement on, if you put atonement on the boss, or the main healing, the boss you have to heal, he's below or she's below, I don't remember if it's a guy or a girl, is below that 35% threshold. So whenever you heal through atonement, their health bar doesn't actually move, but you proc Twist of Fate. So that means you're doing more healing, more damage, more healing for your team, and more damage to the enemies, obviously, with your Twist of Fate proc. So first phase, you could pretty much have 100% uptime with Twist of Fate. I normally don't do it because it's kind of like a cheese, I guess, just for one part of the dungeon. I'd rather just have Schism up for the whole dungeon. Here's another cheese. Came with season 4. You can stand up here and not get affected by the frogs at all. Kind of nice. Let's see the toads try to run to me, but I don't ever get their debuff because I'm up on I'm Z-axising them. And this is where Discipline Priest just kind of is lackluster on that single target healing without anything to DPS. It would have been nice, and I've never actually had a pug team let me DPS the caster mob, the elite caster mob who comes in. If you watch some streamers maybe, or a more coordinated team, they will let the Discipline Priest heal off of, pretty much do the only damage to that caster mob so they can heal the main boss here. I've tried telling people let me heal off of it. Some people like just don't read the chat box like during keys for some reason, I don't know. So I just never mind it. I just pretend like that mob, like I'll get what I can out of atonement through that mob, but if it dies, then it dies. I just know like this is gonna be a very mana intensive fight. I have a mana potion ready, and thankfully here I have a Balance Druid to innervate me. Could have used a potion of wild mending if I needed to have more healing to save myself some mana. But it's just one of those fights. I start off with 100%. By the time we get to phase 2 and we lost, like I'm at sub 20% mana, and that's pretty much it. So the second healing phase, it's actually pretty tough, especially if I don't have another player to help me heal. So this is my key. I always try and get at least one other player that can heal. So this one I got the Balance Druid. I really prefer Paladins, honestly, because Paladins can do a lay on hands, and I think it's the second phase. They can lay on hands, and it's like an instant clear of the this mechanic, or this phase of the boss. But any other healer to help a Discipline Priest heal in this dungeon is highly beneficial. So if it's your key and you're not a Discipline Priest, or you're not even an off healer, you're just a pure DPS, it's a good idea to remember if you're playing with Discipline Priest, you would want someone else to help heal on this last phase just so it goes by a little bit faster. So we got it all done. We do the usual, take the boss buff, go back pull to get count. So someone said didn't want to risk bolster, but I don't know what bolster he was talking about there. The tank is like, so we actually did part of that pull without the boss buff. But, you know, we still got it. Kind of weird how kind of like, I don't know, I saw some things I didn't expect to see in 20, with people killing themselves on the first boss, the tank not doing the orb room really well, and then him also not not killing off the count first and then the boss. That was a little weird. It says something about bolster. There's no bolster risk there. We're just doing more damage. We don't take damage. So here's where I show my gear. This gear is very typical of what I've been running in all my other videos for Disc Priest. So here's the latest to my YouTube channel, and it's been a few months. Just work came up, things came up where I couldn't make videos as much as I'd like to. I'm also kind of running into a content drought, but I think I might just continue doing things like this, record my in-game play, do voiceovers, and send them onto YouTube. So that's it. That's my first 20 in time for YouTube. That was my third 20 in time, I believe. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about Disc Priest, if you have any questions about the Templates of Thralis run, if you have any questions about the gear I use, you can still ask questions about corruption, even though we will be losing them in 1 week. Excuse me. If you have a question about the Azurite traits, my talent setup, just feel free to let me know in the comment box.